just adjust my camera. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from wherever you are. I have a chesty cough. So if you hear me coughing every 2 seconds, it's the season where it gets blisteringly cold here in the UK. And then tomorrow it's going to be 15 degrees because changing winds are ever so rapid when we are part of the slipstream here. That's forever erratic. And it's been very cold here. We haven't had snow. It did snow one day, but it only lasted for 2 hours. It didn't really stick. However, I'm sitting there with the woolly blankets wrapped up like a mummy. Not right now because it's the heating's on. But this camera, man, it has a mind of its own. With that being said, it's just me and Sam at the moment. Chris might join us later. Nobody else looks to be jumping in because we're mainly covering politics again today. I have one Disney thing that I'm going to cover. I do have a few articles, a few topics to get through, so I'm going to try and keep this as streamlined as possible and focus on the articles before moving on to other stuff. Hello, Rick B. Welcome to the stream. And some of the topics we will be covering today, I thought I might as well get this out now for people that click on this video. So we have, of course, the ICC arrest warrants being issued to Benjamin Netanyahu.
What a joke is that?
Gaetz or whatever his name is. And
Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry's and some Hamas leader. Matt Gaetz is out. Novarama Media with some controversy. You see, we're not just going after the right. We're also calling to task people from our own side. Conor McGregor and him being as big of a cop womble as you can imagine. UK missiles firing into Russia. Farmer protests. And new possible CEO for Disney. And why that could mean trouble for anyone that knows this person. With that being said, there was an incident at Gatwick Airport, and of course, the culprit is right here, Zam. There was a suspicious package left. It didn't disclose where it was left, so I'm going to make the assumption that you didn't flush again. So your comments on the controversy that you caused.
I know little about it, and I'm not really following it too much, to tell you the truth. I think it's much ado about nothing because
it was literally much about nothing. They investigated it. They opened up. It was only closed for like a couple of hours, but I'm making a mountain out of a molehill and race baiting because
I was at Heathrow Airport and I picked up somebody and I was dropping them to an area called Weybridge, which required me to drive down the M25. When I was driving down the M25, those digital boards they have on the motorway, one of them says no drop off at Gatwick South, and I thought, probably some fucker just crashed their car or some shit like that. Never thought anything about it, because you can drop people off at Gatwick North, and there's like a train that goes between South and North. So that's how I thought people are going to get to South if they need to. And I never thought anything about it. Then you come to me telling me about this, and I thought, okay, fair enough. Somebody left their bag behind, and now everyone thinks it's a bomb. I, on several occasions, have seen a fucking bag lying around at Heathrow Airport, and I've told the security about it as well, because we live in this day and age where we shit ourselves over stuff like that. And every time I brought the security to that bag, after half an hour, hello, my darling, after half an hour of nobody getting the bag, they look into it, take the bag away, and then everyone goes about their fucking business. So this must have been like a big deal for Gatwick.
Well, this was during, they opened the briefcase or the bag or whatever, and there was a suspicious package or some shit like that. And that's why they closed it down. They had to evacuate as well. They had to evacuate the whole airport. But 2 hours later, everything was back to normal. The thing was dealt with. It was investigated. It was a nothing burger. But I thought because our old Zammy here frequencies the airports, that he might have dropped a massive turd in the toilets and scared the crap out of security. Ha ha ha! Jokes, jokes, jokes. Right. Yes, Rick B. Criticism of the left. What do you mean? Finally, look, we criticize anyone here. That
We're fair.
yeah, we're fair. That's the whole point. And be warned, I'm not going to go too crazy on them because I think it's been not well. It's not been blown out of proportion because it's one thing that led to another thing that was just ridiculous. But we'll get to that. That's item number 3. So first off, we'll start off with the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu. We've been through this before. This, of course, means that countries would be obliged to arrest him if
Welcome,
he.
Rusty
Oh,
Rivers.
hello, Rusty.
Glad you're drunk.
Fantastic. Feel free to be silly in the comments. We welcome it. It's all good fun. But yeah, so countries should be obligated to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu and Ben and Jerry's, whatever the guy's name is, and the Hamas leader who's got no chance of getting out anywhere in the world, given that Gaza is just an open air prison. But we're now sitting here to see who's going to honor this, who's not going to honor this. The UK is kind of twiddling the thumbs. 1 minute Starmer says he will honor it. The next minute he's not actually going to do it. And of course, we can't expect our own government to do anything because, if you've got like AIPAC in America, in the UK, you have Labour Friends of Israel and the Board of Deputies. These are massive Zionist lobbying groups. And they practically, I don't know, this isn't a Jewish conspiracy because I don't consider Zionists to be like actual Jews. They're just far right nut jobs.
They're extremists. No different to Islamic extremists and Christian extremists.
Exactly.
That's where they fit.
They're extremists, and that's where they fit. I don't lump every Jew in with them. I have Jewish family. I have Israeli family. I don't lump the Zionist portion of my family in with the Jewish portion of my family because they have completely opposing views. So I just want to make that clear because some people are like Benjamin Netanyahu, who claimed that the ICC is anti-Semitic, which as soon as the warrant was issued, that's what everyone said. They go, he's just going to come out and say it's anti-Semitic. And of course, cue the meltdowns. But before I go into that, Zam, your thoughts on the arrest warrant while I cough my brains out?
It probably means that he won't travel to certain countries that want him. At the same time now, with Donald Trump being reinstated, and even to a degree, regardless of Donald Trump being reinstated, I think knowing that America has Israel's back, no matter what they do, Israel could nuke America, and America would still have their fucking back. So regardless of this, I think knowing that America's got Israel's back and got Benjamin Netanyahu back in particular, I don't know if he's going to feel too scared going to a certain country that might want to arrest him. But I do feel that he'll expect America to speak up for him and defend him while he commits his genocide. Yeah,
I mean, I think knowing Netanyahu, he's going to try and chance it, just be like cocky and just go like, oh, this country's issued an arrest warrant. Well, I'm going to go there. Let's see you touch me. Because a spokesperson for Trump's cabinet has threatened to go to war with the Netherlands if they even dare to kind of arrest Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh my God. Go to war with Holland.
This is hilarious. Yeah, war with Holland.
Over Netanyahu.
Hang on, let me get this up. You go ahead, Zam. I'll go and find the thing.
Yeah, like I said, this for me is the bigger issue. Like Benjamin Netanyahu is only doing what he's doing and committing the genocide, and Israel feels the way that they are is because of the backing of the United States, and the fact that America is willing to fight, to go to war with Holland, which is, in my opinion, absolutely unheard of. But they're willing to do stuff like that. Kind of shows you that America doesn't give a shit about America first. It's Israel first. Always will be Israel first, no matter what Israel fucking does. As I've said before, American taxpayer money goes towards Israel's universal health care, and not just their military. So Israel matters to America more than anything, and Benjamin Netanyahu knows that. They're constantly getting weapons, regardless of whatever they do. Their needs are unconditional. You understand that? Unconditional. It is crazy how American politicians, salivate over what Israel needs, and for them to go to war with any country on this planet, including Holland, kind of shows you that America has not got its priorities right. And this is fucking ridiculous.
Well, the thing is as well, like, it just shows you how lobby groups have just too much power, because this is basically like AIPAC, as much as boasted how many Democratic candidates they got voted out and replaced with their own puppets in the run up to the election and during the election. So that's what they're really scared of. If tomorrow they did the money out of politics and rendered lobby groups useless, you could easily just criminalize it and then issue arrest warrants for members of AIPAC. But of course, they're not going to do that. But
their allies want him. Their allies want Benjamin. It's not just any old country. Yeah. Allied nations. Oh, Tom Cotton's a fuck. He's never seen a war he hasn't liked.
Yeah. Now, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton threatens to invade the Netherlands because the ICC issued an arrest warrant against Netanyahu. So it's there. It's not. I'm not pulling it out of my ass. I pull a lot of things out my ass, but lies is not one of them. Gerbils, yes. Birds, yes. Chicken, sure. Rick B, well, we don't listen. There's not a lot to criticize on our side compared to the rights. Okay, let's be honest. But you've heard me many times criticize. Well, it's not really the left, but it's kind of like certain stupid, mostly liberals than anything. And they're kind of dumb ways of trying to cope with get pats on the back for stupid things.
Yeah, just people understand regarding neoliberalism. I mean, they might be okay with trans people and gay people and all of that, but at the end of the day, they're still economically no different to the right. They want the same fucking things, and that's the problem with neoliberals. That's why I have issues with watching people like The View and stuff like that, because as much as people like Whoopi Goldberg are not racist or homophobic, you'll still fucking blame poor people for the lives that they live. And not the fact that the rich people are taking advantage of the poor and making things worse. And they'll never blame capitalism and things like that. That's who these people are, exactly. and that's a sort of as close to the left as we tend to have an issue with most of the time.
And Rick, the things that are to criticize on the left, that's mainly the American left. But again, to reiterate, we're British, and the British left is not as fucked up as the American left, okay? Because they everyone just doesn't prioritize where to focus. Whereas over here, despite the crap you see in the media, they focus on financial stuff. And I keep trying to remind people, and I also keep forgetting to mention this when people think, oh, but that's why everyone's going to reform. Yes, they are. There's a lot of people that could vote for reform at the next election, especially because Labour is doing nobody any favors. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that this is the deliberate ploy to help prop up reform more, because again, billionaire-funded Reform Party, Labour stepped aside their candidate in Clacton so that Farage was guaranteed to get elected. The whole system just smells fishy. But I need to remind people that we have 10 left-wing MPs, plus the 6 that are now thrown out of Labour, had the whip removed, are now running a 6 left-wing independents. Okay, so that's a total of 16, not officially 16 yet, until they have a by-election or whatever. But we also have a record number of Green councillors, Green-run councils, who have all left Labour because of Keir Starmer and run as Greens and won in record numbers. So I don't want people to think that, oh, things are not futile here, and also, we're not as despised as the left in America, who, again, I've explained many, many times, they get bogged down and they don't know how to prioritize. And unless you are ideologically as pure as the person to your left, and then ideologically as pure to the person to your right, unless you all agree on everything, then they'll find 1% to kind of just cancel you or shut you down, even though you're on the same side of them. But we've criticized that many times before. Now, so that's with Israel and the arrest warrant. I just brought that because nothing's really going to happen. I think there's more pressure within Israel to put Netanyahu on trial anyway, because the only reason he's prolonging this war is to avoid the trial. And they've had massive protests in Israel that were, their own people protesting the government's actions as well. So I don't want people to think that people in Israel.
Yeah, but they're doing it for different reasons, and
yeah, they're doing it because they hate the government, not because they pity the Palestinians.
Yeah,
well, no. To be fair, there are a few, but in terms of these particular protests, the majority of people that took part of them is, like you say, it's because they only care about themselves and they hate their government. Because Israel's in financial ruin as well. A lot of things that people don't talk about, and they've been hemorrhaging troops trying to get into Lebanon. That's why they just stepped up their bombing rather than taking troops in there, and they're trying to ramp up efforts to conscript people. And all
they want America to do everything for them once again. So
yeah, of course. Once Trump is there, he's just going to put boots on the ground. I guarantee.
Well, look, this is my thing regarding Donald Trump. I think a ceasefire might happen, and it might happen during the Trump administration, and then Trump can claim credit for it, saying, like Benjamin Netanyahu, like once he feels like he's destroyed enough of fucking Palestine or Gaza, he can then claim a ceasefire, and then Trump will take credit for it, saying, "Look what I did! I ceasefire, I did it," and people will believe that when that was the plan all along to give Trump credit for it.
I mean, you might get it with Lebanon, and he'll take credit for that. But there are already plans in place to annex the West Bank. And,
no doubt, but by that time, by that time, the Palestinians might be exterminated, which is why he can then say, "Okay, ceasefire, but all right, all the Palestinians are dead now, so it doesn't matter." And okay, beach property time, baby.
Yeah.
Look, no one's going to invade Holland, but your side is saying it, Rick B, and so that's why you're trying to sweep it under the carpet. So you should be condemning them big time, but you won't. Daniel Vance says Trump will put boots around for Netanyahu. Yeah, like I said, he'll do it. Like I said, whatever Israel wants, they'll get. It's unconditional. Welcome back, Dan. Good to see you again, mate. Yeah, so bigger problem the left have is that they have no sense of humor. There's nothing funny in these particular matters, dude. Like, for fuck's sake, we're gonna go to war and kill people. We're only joking. What the fuck is it?
And no, we're not pro censorship. That's your side again. You might want to look at your beloved boy, Mr. fucking Elon Musk, and the amount of left wing journalists and individuals that he's had their accounts suspended. The lovely Egyptian comedian had his account suspended just because he was critical of Israel.
And the amount of books Ron DeSantis has banning books just generally in America, that's the right wing for you. They oh my god, look, this book teaches about reproductive stuff. We can't, that. I mean, they think anything to do with how the human body works, or maybe the existence of gay people, they associate all of that shit with pornography because they're that fucking narrow-minded. I had a talk with one of my customers today who didn't like the idea of young people understanding about gay people. And I go to the reason why a lot of people consider this stuff woke or whatever is because you just assume that gay people are still stigmatized. If you talked about straight people, no one would care, but gay people are still stigmatized. And at the same time, a lot of people on the right just associate anything to do with gays, trans people with pornography, which is why you don't want to fucking talk about it. And that's not the case. Talking about gay people and trans people is not fucking porn, but they think it is porn. because that's how they
Yeah,
fucking work.
exactly. So I'll just get to this comment here. Trump has the bigger issue with Putin and his nuclear threats. So on that, Mullen, what I reckon is, look. So okay, you know what? I'm going to go to this segment next, and then I'll come back to the other stuff because I think the arrest warrant and the wars and all that transitions better to this. So obviously, there's been controversy this week because UK missiles have been fired into Russia, and of course, America's also saying the same. You can use our missiles now to fire into Russia. So what you notice is, as soon as Trump got elected, Biden and his administration are now escalating and getting involved more blatantly, even though they have been exposed as having troops on the Ukrainian side, which is against the law. But they've been actively getting more involved in escalating the war with Russia because they know as soon as Trump comes in, that war is over. And Trump will capitulate to whatever Putin's demands are. And the real threat is here. If the war machine does what it did when Trump was first in office about pulling out of Afghanistan, and then the entire media went after Trump about that, will they have the balls to go after Trump this time? Because don't forget, Trump in this term, he's going to be way more unhinged, and he's actually going to have more yes men rather than standard Republicans in this administration. So will they dare go after him? Because if they do, there could be dire consequences. So I think Putin knows this, and Putin knows that there are a lot of Republicans that are in the hands of Russian oligarchs. Tulsi Gabbard is one of them, and Tulsi Gabbard is, I can't remember what position she'd be given, like defense secretary or whatever it is, but she's in that cabinet. A lot of the rhetoric on the right, for those that want to cry about Corbyn, because I had a massive spat on Reddit, which is stupid, really, because it's Reddit and it's full of morons, about Putin. Corbyn's like just wants to capitulate and give everything to Putin. I'm like, first of all, let's have a look at the Republican Party and how many of them are bought by Russian oligarchs. Second, we can look at our own Conservative Party and the hundreds of millions that they received from Russian oligarchs, and the fact that they didn't want to impose sanctions on the oligarchs, and they were the last to act and took the longest to seize their assets, giving them plenty of time to sell it off. And they've been exposed, even last year, up until last year, of still taking money from Russians. Okay, I just get that point there before people start thinking that, conservatives are the strong ones and all of that. They were horse to Russia, but the war machine is stronger than the will of the oligarchs. So let's get that forward. So anyway, once Trump comes in, he's blatantly going to stop sending armaments and money to Ukraine. So it's either just going to allow Russia to sweep in, or they're going to do a deal where they do a ceasefire, and that makes Trump look strong in his base, which allows him to get away with way more stuff. That's my prediction. I don't know how it could go. We could get nukes before that, but if we do, fucking fantastic. If we don't, let's see how it goes. Zam, your thoughts?
No, I agree with you. Once again, I mentioned ceasefire earlier regarding Israel and Palestine. I can see the same thing happening here between Russia and Ukraine, and then Trump's going to take the fucking credit for it. He will bow down to whatever Putin wants. Unfortunately, the Zelensky will have little choice but to maybe surrender to Putin. What's going to happen to him afterwards, I don't know. But the Europeans are still supplying weaponry to the Ukrainians, so they still have them, to help them out, regardless
the UK,
of America.
The Germans, the French, they'll still be supplying weapons. But if that could end up being political suicide, because that's just going to cost us a fucking fortune. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Trump comes in.
And once again, it also then concerns me is Trump then going to start picking fights with those people who are still helping out the Ukraine, because I could just imagine America doing that now.
That's a good point.
America, so
that's a good point. Right, I just got to not this comment. I'm not. I just talked to Trump who didn't believe that the right was banning books. I had to show them, and he said it's because it was a church group that was on the right. It didn't count. See, again,
Yeah,
moving the goalposts, deflecting, making excuses. Ridiculous. And we have too many more that are primed to be useful idiots. Hidden house ethic. Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard is director of national intelligence. Jesus Christ.
she's a
And
mole as well.
if she wasn't a Russian asset that was taking money from Russia, she has the experience. But also, there was a lot of shit that came out about her this week from somebody that worked with her. Just said she has no morals. She has no real political leaning. She just goes where the money and the fame is, kind of thing.
She likes
So
to fuck with people, like that's
yeah,
it's a trait that you've noticed with Republicans just generally. They just like to fuck with people, which is why they get involved in politics.
yeah. Well, NATO. The thing is as well. So if NATO, not the US side of it, the other side of it, continues to help Ukraine, then I'm 100% certain that Trump will start withdrawing funding from NATO, like he threatened before when he was in office in 2016 to 2020. So that will be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. All eyes on Russia. Sadly, I can't say all eyes on Israel because, it's just we're just witnessing the extinction of the Palestinians and their land. That's a sad reality. None of the Arabs are helping except for the Yemenis. Egypt, basically, they have an American puppet. Saudi Arabia doesn't care about anything or anyone but themselves. The UAE wouldn't dare do anything because they'll just get annihilated. Jordan, forget it. Lebanon, I would say Lebanon and the Yemenis are the only ones trying to help the
A
Palestinians.
lot, yeah, a lot of
Limited.
these countries don't give a fuck. It's the people within those countries, they care the most. But unfortunately, the governments don't give a shit.
They don't care.
They
Yeah,
don't.
the people do care. Like, even in Saudi Arabia and all these places, there were huge anti-Israeli protests on the streets, but the government doesn't care. Like, the government just, they're not willing to upset their businesses and their profits. Israel's becoming too much of a sacred cow where you can't touch it. It's basically becoming like like a Muhammad thing where you can't depict Muhammad or draw Muhammad. It's that kind of thing, and like a sacred cow thing, because like the wrath of the global media just comes after you like crazy. And we've seen how countries have behaved against protesters and all this. I mean, Germany have been the absolute biggest offenders for this, cracking down on these kind of protests. And the Dutch as well, like literally abducting people and dumping them in the middle of nowhere and then beating them. There's clips of that you can find on Reddit. And yeah, so yeah,
Well,
Israel just
we spoke
like, go
last
on,
week.
mate.
The Dutch didn't give a shit about his own people when Maccabi Haifa fans came into Holland, causing a ruck.
Tel Aviv.
Yeah, no, Maccabi. They came into
Yeah, it was
Amsterdam.
Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Oh, Maccabi. Oh, sorry. I apologize. I thought you
Don't
meant
worry,
Tel
I
Aviv.
do that all the time.
Yeah,
I get the
yeah,
two confused.
yeah.
But
But yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, and so it's disgusting that governments themselves are not even defending their own citizens. Like the cucking to Israel, like this, it makes me sick.
it's
It
sickening.
really
But it
does.
just shows you. It just shows you how like genuinely interlinked these governments are to a singular power, and it's not the fucking Jews or anything. It's the Americans. So whatever the Americans want, Europe does. All right. I said before to show you just how bad it is. Greece always used to side with the Palestinian people. Okay, it always understood the Palestinian struggle. It always sent aid to Palestinians. It always tried to help where it could. Whereas this government, within 2 seconds of war breaking out, I'm sucking off Benjamin Netanyahu and buying their guns and arms. Meanwhile, Greece is like, I posted an article about the state of Greece, which basically Greece is just, it's fucked. Like the UK and Greece are just the most fucked countries in Europe in terms of poverty rates and privatization, acceleration, and all this kind of crap. So let's see. Go to this comment here. Oh, before I do that, this was hilarious. We've proven national intelligence is an oxymoron here in the US. I think it's inevitable. Israel will control all of Gaza and the West Bank. Yeah, yeah. They won't even get reservations, Rick. They're just going to get obliterated.
Go for a deal. We're gonna go for a deal. We're gonna make a deal with the fucking
They're not
Israelis.
going to
Like,
get. Yeah, they're there to get obliterated. They've literally turned any Palestinian that's had to leave during this war. They can't return, and all these Palestinians they're going to be. Where the fuck are they going to go? It's fucked. Oh, let me change the view. Hello, Winnie. Welcome. You're
you're muted.
You muted.
Got a Dude Love t-shirt on. Oh, Bernie. Oh, awesome. Even better.
I'll just go to this comment before I get Winnie's thoughts on everything we've just talked about. How can a country steal its citizens' money for decades and still wind up 36 trillion in debt? Because it's not that money's not being reinvested back into the country. It's going into the pockets of billionaires who don't invest in anything. They just hoard the wealth. And time and time again, we've shown. So privatization is a prime example of this. All the profits are just shared among a handful of people, rather than being reinvested back into the product itself or windfalls given to citizens. You see, once upon a time, ladies and gentlemen, people used to get windfalls, and windfalls from public services meant that you get reduction in bills or you just got a nice little tax rebate. We don't have that anymore. That got destroyed under Thatcher. That's windfall that was shared among the citizenry, which, by the way, all the Arab countries, apart from Libya now, because the West destroyed Libya, all the Arabs, it's within their thing that they get a windfall from the oil sales. So they all get a good chunk of money as a result of that. And we used to do that here. We don't do that anymore. We've just given it to a handful of people. So that's why you end up with huge amounts of debt, because it's not being reinvested. All the profits are kept, and you just get, and your wages are kept low, and everything's just wage theft, which drops your consumer power, and you don't have growth. You just have infinite debt. Plus, you're overspending insanely on military budgets as well. That's not really tied to the amount of tax you're getting. And there you go. Winnie, hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay,
My cat's just ran away. Your thoughts on things we've been talking about? So with Russia and Israel.
Yeah, I kind of just agree with what you guys are saying. Like, we're kind of effed once Trump gets all the way in, where he's going to take Russia's side. I was saying earlier in the chat that I walked by the Israeli embassy, back to that part of it. It was somebody had protested. I don't know who it was because I haven't been there to Embassy Row for a while. And somebody had put a whole bunch of like dead Palestinian people all over. And then now there's an armed guard outside of there. So that's kind of new. It was like 10 o'clock at night or something when we were done with our event at the Chinese embassy. And there was still an armed guard outside of the Israeli one. So that's crazy to me.
It's good though. They should keep it up. Just keep protesting, keep putting pictures up of the dead babies, dead people.
They should, but they won't let them because there's armed guards now.
Oh, well, get a bow and arrow and fire it into the embassy or something.
And once Trump gets into power, being pro-Palestinian will be an arrestable offense, in my opinion.
Yeah,
by the looks of things. And that goes against the First Amendment. But honestly, the Constitution, the First Amendment, it's just words nowadays for politicians to spout. And none of that shit means fuck all.
Agreed. So I'm going to get this is a great comment here from Rick, of all people. I was annoyed with Keir Starmer tweet about getting into bed with BlackRock. Yeah, I mean, basically, so we now know what West Streeting is going to be doing with the NHS. He's going to be selling it off to BlackRock, who are the largest asset holders and the biggest landlords in the world. And this should be unacceptable. This is where you pick up your pitchforks, or in the state of America, your guns, and you get busy with the fucking anyone that works for BlackRock, because that is unacceptable. That these fucking governments, no matter who they are selling off assets to a singular private equity firm like BlackRock. Like, can you imagine? That would basically mean if they own all your assets, they can gouge you, they can change laws, and they've been going after. They've got huge amounts of gross violations against like workers' rights in other countries and all this kind of shit. And these governments are just surrendering to them. It sickens me. Like that alone should lose Labour the next election. It should. It won't, but I'm just saying that people should just keep that in mind to say, oi, you're selling our country off to foreigners. Like, you're no different to the Tories. That's what the Tories do. You're just literally carrying on Cameron economics. It's fucking sickening.
Sorry, I just want this comment here regarding from Rusty. How can a country steal its citizens' money for decades and still wind up 36 trillion in debt? What country? What country was it?
America.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
I covered that already. I was saying, like, when you privatize everything and a handful of people keep the profits, that money doesn't get invested back into the country, and so the government has to then pump more money into said product or utility or service or person, and each time they pump money in, it gets taken out by shareholders.
I have this argument with libertarians and people on the right all the time who say, I don't want government running this, I don't want government running that. So basically they want to privatize everything and let corporations run it. Now, as we live in a country where corporations have taken over stuff that were initially nationalized, like our water and our rail here in the UK. And because everything is about now making profit, because they don't give a shit about necessarily restoring things haven't gotten better under corporate rule. They make money, they're increasing prices, but they're not improving services. Our water is shit in this country. Our railway is fucking shit in this country. So people who have an issue with government running things instead of but they're cool with corporations running things, need to understand that it's probably better at times for the government to run things, but they're not about making profit. Any money they do make, they can reinvest into improving the services that we're already getting from them, and that's how it should fucking be.
Yeah, I mean, mainland Europe and like Japan is like ultra capitalist, but a lot of their stuff are in public ownership. China, we've seen the amazing stuff they've done. Okay, yes, you can argue that their government is authoritarian, but at this point in time, nobody in the West can sit there and fucking, virtue signal about democracy in China when look at the fucking state of us. Just because one country will arrest you for what you say doesn't mean that this country isn't doing far harsher things, as in destroying your quality of life, which is skyrocketing bad health, bad mental health, suicides, death, human functionality, human growth, population growth, all of that kind of shit. All right, there's many ways to destroy people. Now, which is worse? You could argue, oh, well, watch what you say, you get arrested. But at the same time, and I'm not defending this because I don't want this. This is fucking bullshit. But I'm just saying, at the same time, you've got that like walking contradiction of a government that's heavily investing in its people, making sure they've got affordable housing, making sure that their population starts to reverse the decline and grow, and has fantastic public utilities and all this kind of shit. Okay, at least they have that. What do we have? Not a fucking thing. At best, we could just go up to a prime minister and call him a cunt. Wow, great.
America has for-profit prisons. That means corporations are making money and it's in their best interest for American citizens to be imprisoned, because that's for-profit prisons for you. So to consider America to be the land of the free when you got corporate prisons is absolutely fucking absurd. There's no freedom when it's in a corporation's best interest to imprison its fucking citizens, and this gets overlooked by Americans so often. It's ridiculous. This is this is a dangerous precedent, because a corporation might think, oh shit, we need some more people in jail right now. We're losing profits. Okay, we'll just fucking arrest so and so, Tom, Dick, or Harry, And this is like a terrible thing, but they have that in the land of the free, and it's fucking ridiculous.
Hey, at least we have iPads. Every prisoner has an iPad. That's what freaking matters.
So before I go to you, Winnie, for your thoughts on that, just quickly, don't forget the whole school to prison pipeline. That was the whole controversy. I can't remember what state was it. Alabama? Was it Pennsylvania or something like that? Where basically there was a judge that was either had shares in or in bed with a private prison. He was also on like a school board or something like that. I'll Google it. Your thoughts, Winnie, and then I'll find the.
No, we just I totally agree with that. There was a prison built where I'm from in Ohio, in Cuyahoga County, where they literally have it's like adult daycare. They have leather couches. They're not really. It's like prison. They're not allowed to come out, but they have literally all the name brand stuff. Like I really sometimes was like, I'd rather go to prison because at least I would have 3 really nice meals. It's not that squared chunk of shit or whatever. They had great food. It's just it's terrible, and we don't even realize that that's happening. Like it's better to be in prison in America.
Yeah. So here it is. All right, I've got the scandal here. So they were from Pennsylvania. I knew it was one of those places. Mm-hmm. So former judges who sent kids to jail for kickbacks must pay back more than $200 million. So 2 former Pennsylvania judges who orchestrated a scheme to send children to for-profit jails, land of the free, in exchange for kickbacks, were ordered to pay more than $200 million to hundreds of people they victimized in one of the worst judicial scandals in U.S. history. And I will put this in the comments because I'm not going to read the whole bloody article, but if you want to, go nuts. But that's to Zam's point, where they're saying, our prisons are empty. Well, don't worry. This judge has your back. Give me some kickbacks and I'll send a bunch of kids to your jail for you. No problem. And it was huge. And I remember it well because it was unraveling at the time before the judge even got arrested. We started seeing like documentaries of kids just being arrested and they were just like, but I didn't do anything. And then the investigation snowballed into eventually the judge getting arrested. So it's crazy. Yes. Hello, Kat. Okay. Moving on to Novara Media. So this Novara Media is a left-wing media company here in the UK. And they got themselves into a little bit of hot water because one of their hosts, Michael Walker, I had the tweet. I can't find it now anywhere, but he basically talked about. Now, let me find it. I'm sorry, guys. You guys chat amongst yourselves. I'll find it.
Let's read some comments then, Moss.
Yeah, go for it.
Whilst we do that, I don't know where we were last. When Trump gets into power, you'll be doing jail time for being pro-Palestinian. That is a possibility. He wants to deport people. Where you can deport them to? Fucking Guantanamo Bay. Did you see that interview with Keir Starmer where he said he never had a dream? He never had a dream and that he had no internal dialogue. Total NPC android. Well, look, Rick B, I'll make you like Keir Starmer right now. He's right wing. Rusty Rivers, corporations run the government in the USA. Yes, they always have. It's really strange. I realize how much power corporations have with just by things like your commercial breaks on television. They're like every fucking 5 minutes on US television. It's crazy.
What was that?
Commercial breaks in American televisions, like they're every 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
They can't wait to sell you fucking something.
Well, I tell you what, though, Greece is worse for adverts. Like their adverts are 8 minutes long.
Sometimes ours are too. It's getting to be that point, and it's usually some sort of pharmaceutical.
Yeah, ask your doctor about this thing that will make your rectum explode.
It's not even that. Like during the Super Bowl, people are talking about the commercial breaks. Oh, I can't wait for the commercial. I think, what the fuck? Like here in the UK, when it comes to our major sport, whether it be the World Cup football, football just generally, when we're looking for a final, no one is ever talking about watching the commercial breaks. It doesn't even come into our minds. But in the fucking America, like, you guys want to talk about your fucking commercial breaks over your biggest sporting event. It boggles my fucking mind. Anything to add to that, Winnie, before
Nope, you pretty much got it. Like, it's batshit crazy because we don't even know. Most of the majority of the population doesn't even know that they're being controlled like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's the problem, Rusty. That's why our government sucks so much. Yep, I agree.
All right.
Hi.
I'll share the screen.
Sorry, if I said that right?
Recidivism.
Recidivism is built into our prisons here in the US.
It's the same here as well.
And one out of 3 big pharma. Okay, and football sucks. All right.
Let's go to this.
Football does suck.
Well, if Gridiron wasn't full of breaks, I'd really love it. But it's too many.
It would only last like 25 minutes if there were no ads.
Yeah. Right. So this is Michael Walker from Novarama Media. It goes, the reason the fairness in sports thing is a successful tactical wedge is because it's where TERFs have a point. So, of course, he's talking about trans athletes here. And he's citing that the TERFs have a point when it comes to this argument. TERFs also have a bunch of fringe and unpleasant ideas, which should see them isolated, but they get a free pass because anyone sympathetic to trans rights, but not fully signed up to the entire menu of trans right activist doctrine, gets labeled a revolting TERF and never wants to speak on the issue again. So the controversy here, firstly, is saying that, they have a good point with the trans people in sports, which, that always needs to go on a case-by-case basis. That's what I always say. But it's not an issue enough to be a concern. Like, right-wingers think it's a fucking epidemic.
There's hardly any trans people in sports. There's hardly any trans people generally. And then on top of that, then you have to then divide the ones who are athletes. There's even fucking less.
Yeah, it's not an issue. But the one that really pissed people off, and this is because when it was first reading out, I was like, oh, okay, I get that kind of thing. I know where they're coming from, but really it's just a non-issue. But then when he said that the trans rights activist doctrine, that's what really pissed people off, because he's trying to equate trans rights or just trans people as some kind of ideology, as being like a trans right activism being an ideology, rather than just the fact that they're just existing, they're just there, and they just want equal rights and to be heard. And that really, like, for a left-wing commentator to say something like that, that's fucking stupid. That's really fucking stupid. And it's really frustrating, because it's like, you got to be careful with what you say, because it's not so much that might be your opinion. That's fine if that's your opinion. But you got to know how the other side is going to react to this, and they're going to capitalize on it. They're going to capitalize it in a way that, number one, your ego will get bruised by your own side because they're calling you out, and the other side is now going to be welcoming you, and you're going to be like, oh, well, the other side is more tolerant than my own side, rather than understanding that what you said was fucking stupid, because women aren't an ideology. Feminism is an ideology. Women are not an ideology. Men are not an ideology. The patriarchy is an ideology. So to say that trans rights is an ideology, it really did. It riled people up. And I would say, look, all right, he should self-reflect on what he said, look into it. If he still feels that way, then really, when it comes to talking about trans people and trans issues, he should just be put to the sidelines, because he's not the right person for it. I'm not saying he should be cancelled on that. I'm just saying on this particular issue, he should shut the fuck up, because he's using TERF rhetoric. So yeah, your guys' thoughts on that? Winnie, I'll go to you.
I have trouble talking on this situation. I don't know because I never feel like I say the right thing, and I don't know if that's what happened here, or he used the wrong word meaning to try to mean something else. So I am not going to talk on this because
Okay.
every time I say anything, it's usually wrong.
No, that's fine. Sam
His name is Michael Moore.
Walker.
Walker. Okay, I'm about to say yeah. Regarding trans people in sport, I don't think. Let me restart that again. I have no problem with trans women in sport, but at the same time, I do understand why certain people might have an issue. You know, I
Oh yeah,
do
for sure.
I do
We've talked
get
about
it.
before.
I do get it. So I mean, for instance, if a trans man was involved in men's sport, was in boxing, this person used to be a woman, and obviously women amongst the turfs and fucking the chuds and the red pillars are looked upon as the weaker sex. So would they have a problem with a trans man involved in boxing, for instance, or a javelin throw, or anything that involves strength and physicality? You know, would they find that acceptable because that person they might consider to be from a weaker sex is now a man, and so so theoretically, if they do achieve anything, they've done it on their own accord and all of that, and they're not cheating because they were men initially in the first place regarding trans women. I mean, is that how their mindset are? At the same time, I don't have the same sort of mindset as that movie fucking was it Lady Ballers, that film with
Yeah.
Benjamin? Yeah, where they just assume that because you're a guy, you're going to be better at everything compared to a woman. I mean, it doesn't matter if the woman's a professional and knows how to fucking play. You're a man, you're immediately fucking better, and that's obviously a stupid mindset as well. If me and you were involved in a fucking basketball game against professional women basketball players, we will get annihilated. You know what I mean? We'll get fucking destroyed. So there's so many things to consider and all of these sort of things, but yeah, I'll just leave it as that.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's all like a case by case basis. That's what I always say. Like, you know, I don't want to shit on people.
Wrong.
Huh?
This is wrong. This is wrong. There was this trans man who won in amateur wrestling. This is wrong.
Oh, yes,
Wrong.
You're right about that. But
yeah.
I didn't get to. Thank you anyway for pointing that out. But I was just saying everything needs to be taken on a case by case basis because it depends on how early you've transitioned. It depends on, you know, just those kind of things. There are legitimate concerns to be had, but it's not an epidemic.
No.
Okay, not a big issue. If it became a massive one, then fine. You could argue there needs to be its own specific category. So, in that regard, that's that part of what Michael said. I get it, and there are people on the left that legitimately, and you know, there was a trans woman that I was friends with before they turned out to be a complete fucking idiot, who also sided with the argument to say, look, it needs to be taken on a case by case basis. She's like, yes, I transitioned when I was very young. I won't mention their name on here because I don't want to do that, but. You know, they were with us from the blog TV days and things like that. So the early kind of YouTube kind of days. And they transitioned when they were very young, but she's still a 6'2" mammoth. So unfortunately, regardless of all the therapies and all the stuff that she had and the hormonal treatments and all this kind of stuff, she still became, you know, a giant Viking goddess kind of thing. And so in that regard, she said it wouldn't exactly be fair for me to go into a ring with a woman and have a wrestling match or a boxing match because I'd probably smash her face in. So that's why there's always arguments to be had depending on categories and sizes and all this kind of stuff. But if you look at wrestling, wrestling has Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is a trans woman. She wrestles with other women. There's also, and she's massive. She's huge. But of course, because it's wrestling and it's choreographed and all that, you can get away with that. But in TNA, there was a trans woman who wasn't very slender, very feminine looking. Like you wouldn't look at her and think, "Oh, that's a man," kind of thing, or they used to be a man. Sorry, I apologize for my language I'm using, but in wrestling it happens, and they just go with it, baby, because it's not really a big issue because everything's choreographed and all that. But in terms of like boxing and physical sports, it has to be a case by case basis, and there are a lot of people that think that. But where the controversy really lies for me is calling trans rights activism a doctrine, which is a disgusting term used constantly by the right wing. Now, that wasn't bad enough. After saying that controversy, who was his fucking guest on Novarama Media the next day? Anna Kasparian, who I'm sure you guys are aware from the Young Turks.
Yeah, she just hates trans women because so many of them look so fucking hot, and she can't handle the fact that some person that used to be a man is looking hotter than she is. And don't get me wrong, Anna Kasparian's a very fucking beautiful woman, but sometimes I just feel it's down to that, like there's a lot of jealousy maybe, because she never really had issues with trans people before, but now she does. Where did that come from? My mindset on it is kind of narrow-minded in my thinking, but that's where.
Yeah, look, with Anna, it was, she heard the term birthing person and got really offended by it, say, "Oh, I am a woman." All that. Now, to be perfectly clear, it's a medical term used, and it's actually geared towards trans men. It's mainly geared towards trans men. Because you can look like me, but you still have the reproductive organs of a woman, and you can get pregnant. And that's why they tend to use the term birthing person in that regard. And of course, Anna Kasparian saw that. There's no evidence. Nobody said that, called her that. She just saw the term somewhere, and it snowballed from there. And that was the kind of beginning of the end for her. Even though I saw it happening way before that, to be perfectly honest, because I'd already unsubscribed from the Young Turks, but they've gone like now. Even Cenk is nearly there. He's at the point where he's sitting there going, "See, look, the Conservatives are opening to listen to my points of view when it comes to scaling down the Pentagon." And it's like, dude. So essentially, because they stroke your ego, that's all it takes. It's just these people are fucking ridiculous. They're clowns. They're just in it for their own egos. They're not in it for any principle.
I've had like people on the right think I was really cool because of me criticizing Kamala Harris and her campaign and all of that sort of stuff, and regardless of them agreeing with me, like they can still go fuck themselves because just because we agree on that particular thing doesn't mean that all of a sudden I'm going to start siding with them, which is fucking ridiculous. And this question here, what trans man won at wrestling? It was a trans lad more than a trans man. It was amateur wrestling, high school level. I'm sorry if I don't know, or maybe college level. I really don't know much more than that. I vaguely remember it, but I do recall it. It was a story, it was an article. I never followed it that much. I just know that a person that used to be a woman who's now a man did college wrestling, amateur wrestling, and won their particular weight division. And that's all you need to know, and you got to take my word for it. Rusty Rivers.
This is your standard. If you have a penis, if you're not being a girl's locker room, people with penises are dangerous. Well, people with penises are dangerous, but it doesn't mean that. What are the statistics on trans women fucking sexually assaulting anyone in a locker room or that? It's going to happen. You're also going to get opportunistic. We've seen how many men put a wig on and go and do that because, again, when you blow something up in the media, that just gives people ideas to do it. And statistically, trans women are more likely to be sexually assaulted and attacked by either other women, especially in prison, or by men. Okay, so you stick a trans woman in a men's locker room, they're more at risk than sticking a trans woman in a women's locker room. All right, and this whole thing is just fucking like we're sitting there like acting like these fundamentalist Christians where everything has to be segregated and all this kind of shit. Meanwhile, in other countries, they're just like, whatever, man, go change wherever you want to fucking change.
No, but it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that everything is about sex with these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? like, oh, you're a trans person, they think sex. You're gay, they think sex. They don't think of anything else but fucking sex. That's these repressed motherfuckers. I mean that. It just drives me nuts with their mindset. It's just all about sex.
Rick, I'm not going to answer the Imani Khalif thing because that's been done to death. So moving on from that.
Again, it's hard for us to not think about sex with every single thing because we have little blue pill commercials every 2 seconds. We have all of our movies are geared towards sex, all of that. So it's fucking ridiculous here how much that we think about sex in general, and we don't think about the people as they are. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, look, you could argue it's perfectly normal functioning thing, but the thing is, if that's all you're going to think about, then you're not looking at a person as a human being.
She's not. She's not a man. Like, she was born a woman. No,
I'm not. Sam. Yeah, we're not touching Imani Khalif, the editorial decision on that, because it's been done to death, and he's just trying to troll. And if you're not trying to troll, don't care. But yeah, it takes away people's ability to just think of a person as a human. I've got a lot of female friends, and half the time my male counterparts are like, "Oh, she's so I really want to fuck her. I really want." It's like, keep that to yourself. I don't want to fucking know. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, whatever, but I don't want to fucking know, because to me that is between you and them if you strike up a conversation. But I don't need to be the middleman to hear your stuff. We've all been there. We've all said this kind of stuff. But at a certain point, you get to a certain age where you just like, let's just calm the fuck down. And whatever you're thinking, keep it to yourself.
On TikTok, I'm constantly watching clips of and these are clips. I don't watch the streamers themselves because I'm not into that. But these are a couple of female streamers who I'm subscribed to who have really good clips of the misogyny they constantly go through and how they have to deal with it all the fucking time. They'll join a Call of Duty lobby and they go, "Hi guys, how you doing?" And then the men will immediately hear a woman's voice goes, "Go make me a fucking sandwich," or "Get back in the kitchen, you bitch," or some shit like that. It's the same fucking shit all the time.
All the time.
All the fucking time they got to deal with misogyny, and once again it all rolls back down to fucking sex and all of this sort of shit, and it's just ridiculous. So it just drives me fucking. As a man, it fucking drives me nuts that these people. I share the same gender with these motherfuckers.
So, Winnie, you're a gamer, aren't you?
I'm a gamer and a streamer, and have dealt with that my whole streaming career, and it's crazy. I get if I get on a Call of. This is why I stopped playing Call of Duty specifically for this, because I'll get on for 5 seconds, they'll hear me, and it'll be all of that stuff, or worse, or they'll figure out my username and then send me pictures of their body parts that I don't want to see. Like, it's freaking crazy.
God.
Like, the amount of body parts that I get in my DMs is insane.
So, Rick, that's not banter. That's just basically sexual impropriety. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a big fucking difference if you're sending dick pics and all of that. So back, yeah. So I have a friend who there was a group of us that played Modern Warfare 2 back in 2008, and she is just like fucking the MVP. She was phenomenal, like the best player we had in our squad and all that. And the abuse that she would get was just ridiculous. But the problem is like you're abusing somebody who's on the stream with her two brothers who are like 8'2" mammoths, and they just obviously chime in saying, "Right, I'm gonna fucking find your IP address. I'm gonna come and get you," and all this kind of. All of a sudden, it's like, click, bye, gone, and all this kind of. But it was ridiculous, and it's relentless. It still is.
I had somebody take a screenshot of Google Earth because they found my IP address and said, "I'm gonna find you." So that's is creepy.
It's just like
does happen.
These people are fucked in the head. Like, they have no boundaries whatsoever. They don't understand other people's feelings, other people's thoughts. It's just it is crazy how liberal people think they could be on the internet, but real life comes and finds you, and real life will smack you in the face. Or sadly, you'll have the other extreme, or real life, they will come and find you and shoot you if you're a woman or sexually assault you and all this kind of stuff. So it's insane. Like, and there needs to be a lot of education in that regard, just in how people view each other in general, and we've complete like the way the the dating scene is now. It's like it's been completely dehumanized. You know, it's reliant on algorithms and apps, and people just don't know how to fucking talk to each other. They don't know how to banter properly. They don't know. And I always used to say, like, the one thing I love about the UK is the banter. We have the best banter in the world because it's just very casual, very chill, very making fun, but in a light way and all this kind of stuff. And it's great back and forth. But I'm seeing young'uns today, they don't know how to banter. So I was at my friend's, his son's 18th birthday. Jesus Christ. It's like yesterday he was born and I was babysitting him and now he's 18. But, you know, there was a lot of like very strapping young lads, 6 foot tall, all this kind of crap, very pretty girls all around the same age, 16, 17, 18, all of them. They didn't know how to fucking banter with each other. They didn't know how to talk. They were burying themselves in a phone and just be like, oh, look at this meme. And I sat there, me and my friend Keith. My friend Keith is like the king of banter. I learned from him because I used to be really bad, but I just used to watch him and I'm like, oh, there's nothing really to it. I'm overthinking because I overthink everything. But we're just sitting there and we're just trying to teach these kids how to banter, the boys and the girls. And we're getting in the wives involved and all this kind of shit. And it just turned into this whole like seminar, basically, of teaching them, you know, how to banter, what to look at, what to think. Like, pick your trends, pick your things, pick your hobbies, go off of that, find something to make fun of, not in the individual, in the general sphere of things and all this kind of shit. But it's scary, and that removes the humanity of it, because then you're just going like, oh, they're pretty, I'm going to bang them. It's like, okay, but you know the person, you speak, you communicate, you know how to talk, you know how to have a thing with them, all this kind of shit. And yeah.
Before we go, I mean, I don't want to do my TikTok chases just yet, but I just want to quickly show you Steffi Evans, who's somebody I do enjoy watching, but she's got really good comebacks, and this is one of her most recent videos regarding the shit she goes through.
You know how this.
And then Winnie will come to you because you wanted to say something.
I made me a sandwich.
You have no rights to talk. You're a woman.
Well, I am hosting a bingo night for every time we hear some of these lines, and you can join us. If the enemy tells me something like this,
Go make me a sandwich because you don't know how to play.
you can write it off your bingo card, and each winner will get $20. If you want to play Fragile Bingo with us, all you have to do is join Shine a Light's Discord server to get your own unique bingo card. Shine a Light has a great community that's striving.
All right, a bit too much advertising for my liking, but this was something.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What the f are those?
Oh my God, is that a dog?
So you sound. I can hear your fat voice, you piece of.
And a woman's never been with you.
Yeah. Okay. It's not like he has a child or anything. I have a child with a man.
Isn't that kind of gross that you have a child and you're jumping on a video game to say like this?
Are you offended? You sound offended.
No, I'm just genuinely asking. I feel bad for your kid.
My daughter's normal. Bro. Like what? Like, why your rights get taken away? Just like when a woman asks if they could get paid the same amount as a man.
I get paid more than you ever will in your life.
You ugly. I hate you. I'm done now. I'm over it. I'll play the game for real.
Hey, you sound offended.
Alright. Where is it going?
That's dusty. I don't care.
You're just
I
a
don't
crying
care.
little
Why are you so
bitch and you
ugly?
jump on this game and you talk like this and you think you're something.
I don't care. I'm done. I want to play the game. I want to win, bro. I want to win.
You're degenerates, you're incels, and nobody
Me?
loves you. All of you. You're disgusting. You're laughing because you know it's true. Hey, what's up, guys?
That's just a little taster for later. Yeah, that's what women just mate. It's harassment. It's not banter.
Yeah. Winnie,
come on, man.
I was gonna say, like, probably like my age. I'm 36 and below. Like, my sister just had a baby at 24. She probably said, well, I know she was pregnant. Her and her husband probably said 10 words to my parents and everybody else that were around because they didn't know what to say to them. But she fluently texted me probably like 6 paragraphs about the whole day and how she was doing. I'm like, well, why couldn't you just say that to me? Like, like why did you have to text me this? They have no idea. It's like they're scared, and I'm gonna say it's some of us too, because I have problems with that too now, but they are terrified.
But it's just people are losing their ability to communicate in person. They really are. And look, I mean, even with Rick, right? You know, dating sucks past 30. It's become a job interview. Glad I have a girlfriend now. Oh, glad to hear you have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Go through all that crap. But yeah, I mean, I can't comment in that regard, because dating in my 30s actually was awesome compared to my 20s. So I was lucky. I mean, but it's true. Like, it's true. Just because I was okay, it's fucking true. It is. It's a nightmare for people. Like I said, it's not just a job interview. You're an algorithm, and these apps are not designed to help you find love. These apps are designed to keep you scrolling, to get your data, to sell you more crap and all this. They're not designed for love. And we was having a discussion in Reddit. I know we've gone off topic now, but it doesn't matter. I always like talking about this kind of stuff. We was having this discussion on Reddit because Instagram, because somebody posted about struggling where to meet people because the apps suck. And I've said, look, the best places to meet people, at least in the UK, are festivals, concerts, hobby-based events, evenings, whatever, and of course, good old pub and things like that. But I've like the best places where I've met people are festivals and concerts, because you're there for the same reason. You have a common ground in that you like the band. Talking to somebody is piss easy because you literally can talk about the band and their performance and the vibes, and if you've seen other bands and all of that, and it snowballs, and the next thing you know, you're exchanging numbers and everyone's having a good time.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so that's my number one recommendation. Number two is hobby-based. Again, common interest, lots to talk about, and then pub, because we're British, and that's always still a good spot to kind of meet somebody because of the banter. So, Winnie, I'll come to your thoughts on that, and then I'll go to Zan.
Yeah, so I have been to over 1,000 concerts, and I've met some of my bestest friends in the whole world there. So absolutely. Second, I just moved to a new city, and because of that, I was like, I'm not gonna sit in my house the whole time. Just get on like Eventbrite and go to a book club, go to whatever.
Eventbrite, perfect. Yeah, exactly.
I made like 5 best friends so far because I went and did a scavenger hunt, and it was through the museums, and we all are like that kind of thing. So do it. It's fun. And then even Chris, who's in the chat, is my boyfriend. He has trouble leaving and talking to people, but he's been going with me to these things, and it's helping him get out of his shell. So yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, that's great. I also, well, what was the other one? I forgot it. I had it in my, well, no, that still falls in. I was going to say dance classes and gym, but that falls into hobby-based stuff.
Yeah, for me, most recently, it's been poker. Like, I play poker with all types of people, and men and women, all different shapes and stuff. I play poker with deaf people. I play poker with people with cerebral palsy, guys in wheelchairs, and all of that, as well as just all types of people who can barely speak English, but they just know the basics of what they have to say, when it comes to playing the game. And yeah, it's just a great way of meeting people, and knowing people, and men, women, all of that. There's no misogyny, as well, because there's so many women who play poker too, and all of that. And it's just a good way of meeting people, and you're meeting them in the flesh, like. Unlike these Call of Duty lobbies where you feel like you're the toughest guy on the planet because you're behind the microphone, and it just brings out the worst in people here. You have to be, you have to show your etiquette. You have to be nice. You have to be, a cool person. Obviously, there's people who are wankers in the poker game because they want to get under your skin and take your money, but it's not always like that.
I did go out on a date once, like a physical date once, that this guy told me that he knew what it was like to go to war because I had just gotten back from my first trip to Afghanistan. He knew what it was like to go to war because he played Call of Duty. So pissed. I'm like,
I know how it is to work for the CIA because I played a lot of Splinter Cell.
I can fly a plane, but I play Flight Simulator.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You're the guy in the movie that's gonna save us all, bro.
I immediately left that date.
God, I don't blame you. I really don't fucking blame you. That's ridiculous. Jesus Christ. Well, speaking of men that are creeps, I won't do the farmers' protest one because that's just rich people crying over inheritance tax. But Conor McGregor has been found guilty in a civil case for rape. And this was hang on, what happened to the article? God damn it! You see, because I get everything up on the.
Well, while you're looking for that, I'm gonna get some comments here. Okay, Cheeto, see you later, mate. I'm happily married for 21 years. When I say you're pretty, it's a compliment. I'm not trying to creep, but yeah, fair enough. I myself, I really have to know somebody for a while before I can make a comment like that because they need to know me, so they know that I'm not creeping. If you know what I mean, it really it like even as a cab driver on a couple of occasions, I've started on the wrong foot with a female customer. One of them happened to be Maisie Williams, who played Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. Because when she got in my fucking car, I thought, oh my God, it's really you, Ms. Williams. I really thought it might be somebody else who had the same name as you. And she looked at me like, what the fuck is this guy on? And I kind of picked up the vibe. I kind of picked up the vibe that she's obviously a little bit uncomfortable with me fanboying a little bit. So you know what I did? I just shut my mouth and fucking drove. Because that's that's what you got to fucking do to make things cool again. And near the end of the journey, when she started to relax a little bit and she realized she was getting to a destination, I popped a couple of questions at her and she was totally cool with it. But, that's what you have to do sometimes. If you realize there's nothing worse for me than making a woman uncomfortable. I fucking hate it. I really do. I fucking hate it. You know what I mean? And so,
let me tell you this. Let me tell you that most of us can tell whether you're trying to be a creep or just awkward. Like we can tell the difference usually. So
it's true.
Yeah.
No, I say it's true. Like, yes, I'm mansplaining that your opinion is true. May I say that? Yes, from what I've heard from my friends, yes, they can tell straight away. And I'm with you. Like, if I feel that I'm making someone uncomfortable, I just walk away, or I shut down and I don't talk to them because I don't want them to feel awkward. They can just carry on with another group of people and all this kind of stuff and all that. Because one of the sad tragedies is when you are a large lad like me, is anything benign can come across as creepy. Some people do have those preconceptions. It is a reality that has to be understood, and I'm aware of it, but rather than play the victim, I'm just like, all right, it's cool, we don't want to make the situation awkward. I don't want them to remember me as some prick who just went off on her because they didn't feel comfortable. So it's like, I'll just walk away. And that's it. And you keep everything nice. And Rick, look, I agree. Inheritance tax should be abolished to a certain point, not for everyone, because let's say you're like a fucking lord with 1 million properties and all this kind of shit. You can't just pass that on to other people. You got to give some back to the government, okay? Because you've siphoned off all our fucking money anyway. But for the average person, up until a value of something, because we live in the UK, I would say a property value of 1.5 million, because I don't think, but an ordinary house in Haringey, you know Haringey, Zam, right?
Yeah, it's a neighboring borough.
Yeah. So Haringey, okay, where Green Lanes is right towards not Turnpike Lane, towards Manor House, Finsbury Park area.
Yeah, not far from the Arsenal.
3-story houses, they were bought for like 20 grand 40 years ago, and they're worth 1.5 million. Well,
gentrification does that as well.
Yeah, but you weren't. What I'm saying, when you bought that, you're just an average working class person. You're still an average working class person with that house. So when you sell it, I don't think it's right that the government takes a fucking huge chunk of that. I don't believe in inheritance tax with that. I only believe for people with more than like 2 properties or whatever. So,
for me, like your inheritance has already been taxed, because that's whatever you got remained is what which is what you've earned, because the rest of it has already been given to the fucking government.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do have a problem with inheritance tax to a degree, but obviously the more you have, then some of it needs to be given back to society, because you got a fuck ton. If you haven't got a fuck ton, then you shouldn't be taxed at all. And I've always believed that if you're on minimum wage, you shouldn't be fucking taxed at all. I think only rich people should be fucking taxed. Poor people should never be fucking taxed. That's just my opinion.
I think people earning under 25,000 shouldn't be taxed. Because like we have this thing in this country where the working class always carries a tax burden, and the rich don't carry the tax burden, because they say like, "Oh, pay 40%." Yeah, but it's 40% to a certain thing, whatever it is. I can't remember it is, but when it's calculated annually, you're paying less tax than I'm fucking paying, kind of thing. But yeah, I'm with you guys. Like on inheritance tax, again, it's just to plug the shortfalls, because we don't charge enough tax to the rich people or profits or corporations and all this kind of stuff. But if you've got like fucking 10 properties, Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous.
By the way, King Charles, who formerly was Prince Charles, when he had to not King Charles, when the Queen died, you know how much money she paid in inheritance tax?
Fuck all.
Zero, baby.
Yeah,
Zero. £500 million fucking King Charles got, and 0% of it went into inheritance tax.
Yeah. And again, like I'm not arguing. I totally agree. But I was saying, if you're mega rich, then yes, you should pay an inheritance tax, because that just goes toward fucking, paying your fair share in society. All right, you've siphoned off enough money by becoming an insane land amount fucking mass property owner and all of that. But or it depends on the property values and all this. Well, not really the property values. I don't. Look, in an ideal world, there'd be no inheritance tax at all, because people wouldn't be allowed to hoard 50 houses in the first place. In an ideal world, which would need an inheritance tax. That's my opinion.
And like I said, if you already have £500 million and some of it goes towards inheritance tax, you're still going to be well off for the rest of your life. And that money itself, you'd be able, just say for argument's sake, 50% of it went to the tax man. You got 250 million quid. You'll be able to live off the interest for the rest of your fucking life. You know what I mean? You'll never have to dip into that money. The interest itself will cover you forever. So
yeah, that's what I say. Like, if you're a working class person that bought a house, I'll get a great example actually. My friend's grandmother passed away. She had a house in Holloway. The house was 1.2 million. And after inheritance tax, I don't know what it was at the time, that got split 4 ways. And there was a nice little lump sum of money for her children. But that got taxed. I don't believe that should be taxed at all. They shouldn't be. You've paid how much more tax do you need to tax? Like, we tax pensions in this country. Okay, your pensions are taxed. Your private pension is taxed. Your inheritance is taxed. Your fucking wages are taxed. Your ass is taxed. Everything's fucking taxed to the hilt. And it's just, this is all because we don't charge rich people enough, so we foot the bill. So imagine you work your whole life, you got a house, it's incredibly valuable, then all of a sudden the government's like, anyway, I'm taking 40% of that.
It's the same in the United States. It's not different if it's not better. Like, you can't, like, not to get to Medicaid and healthcare and stuff, but I remember I made 13,000 in Ohio. The poverty line is 12,598 or something. And so I made 13,000 one year, and because most of that was taxed, or like I don't know, a third, there's a big chunk of that was taken out in taxes, but I still made too much to be on Medicaid. So it was like
ridiculous. You
can't even live on $13,000 a year. So
if you get ill over there as well, forget it.
You're right. So
forget it.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, over here, you don't get you don't get taxed if you're earning under Sam. What is it? Is it 12.5 grand?
Well, in this country,
Yeah.
if you have only made £12,500, then they won't tax you.
We get taxed as soon as we make $600. So as soon as I make $600 on my Etsy shop, I get taxed, and it's like I have to give them like 50 or 60 bucks.
What?
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's 10%. My God.
Uh-huh.
That's fucking crazy, man. Well, you guys do get stiffed on.
I mean, you get taxed on winnings in the casino, which I found ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's gambling. It's not earning. It's
Right.
gambling, and they fucking tax you for that shit. Driving me nuts.
Well, did you know that you also you get taxed on game show winnings as well? If you win a car, you have to pay tax on that. And so a lot of the times, and any money you win, you get taxed on that. So anytime a lot of the times people just aren't collecting their prizes because they can't afford to pay the tax on it.
So let me just answer this question. You know, these two of my birds, the ones you've seen on screen mainly, are my pineapple conures. My other one, Sonny, who's not playing ball at this moment in time, he is a sun conure.
Well, I must say, Zam, you have a lovely pair of conures.
Yeah, this is by the way, Icarus. He's the one who was not tamed. So he was not the one. Sonny and Lemon, they were hand reared. Icarus wasn't. He was a caged bird, and he was scared of humans. So the fact that I'm able to, pet him and stroke him and stuff like that, he does love my phone. And I've got a couple of pictures of conures on my phone, and he loves that. And he loves sitting on top of the tap and drinking the tap water. He's got some personality traits like that. But I'm really happy how far I've gone with him. So my fat little boy.
Yeah, when I come around to yours, I'm going to deep fry the fuckers and eat them.
Yeah. Well, honestly, he's got the most loveliest, fatty little squeezable body. He's so
my mouth's watering already.
I love squeezing his body. It's just awesome, isn't it? You fat little fuck. Yeah.
Oh, and then when he starts squeezing me, he squeezes the bird as well.
yeah.
All right, let's go to this horrible article, and then I got a Disney thing, and then Zam, it's all yours.
What about Matt Gaetz?
Okay, I'll go to Matt Gaetz afterwards. Let's go to this. So,
they both lead to each other. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we go from a rapist to another rapist. So, McGregor ordered to pay nearly 250,000 euros in damages to Nikita Han after he was accused of 2018 assault. A jury at a civil trial at Ireland's High Court has found the Irish martial arts fighter Conor McGregor assaulted a woman who had accused him of raping her at a hotel in Dublin in December. McGregor was ordered to pay, we've already talked about that. Lawyers for Han had accused McGregor of brutally raping and battering her after she invited him to join her and a friend at a work Christmas party, and also alleged that another man, James Lawrence, who joined the party, sexually assaulted her. The jury found that Lawrence did not. Speaking outside the court after the verdict, Han 35 told reporters that she was overwhelmed by the support she received. She thanked her family and staff members of the Rape Crisis Center who had sat beside her throughout this entire period during the trial. Han said, referring to her daughter, I want to show Freya that every other girl and boy, you can stand up for yourself if something happens to you, no matter who the person is, and justice will be served. If this had happened in the UK, justice would not have been served. I just want to point that out. To all victims of sexual assault, I hope my story is a reminder to the matter of her afraid to speak up your voice and keep fighting for justice. She said she hoped to rebuild her life now that the 6-year-old deal, 6 fucking years, that is crazy. Han grew up in the same area of Dublin as McGregor, took the civil court case primarily to be vindicated. Her barrister had told the court after the director of public prosecutions decided not to pursue a criminal case on the grounds that there was no reasonable prospect of a conviction. So this is why it's gone to civil trial. And yeah, I could read the rest of the article, but I'll leave it at that.
Son Konya for you, Rusty Rivers. Here he is. He's playing ball now.
So Conor McGregor, just always an all-round piece of shit human being. As always, nothing's changed. we thought, oh, he might have calmed down in his age, but obviously this happened 8 years ago. It once you do the R, you're done. Like it's like people that still fucking love and praise Mike Tyson. Fuck you, Mike Tyson's a piece of shit, and so it's kind
multiple allegations from Mike Tyson.
yeah,
multiple
Same with
allegations.
yeah.
Like these guys, like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, you don't need to do this. It's just crazy. Like somebody, what it is with these people because they have it all. They're in physical, they're in great shape, a lot of charisma. People follow them. They've got hangers-ons and everything. They finally come across a woman who's not interested in them, and they want that person more than ever. And then they end up being a monster because of it. And then they use their strength and everything else to overpower them, and it's disgusting. Like their ego is just the worst. There's so many women who will bed them, without a fucking, and they want the woman who doesn't want them. It's just so fucking stupid. These guys are idiots, absolute idiots. If they don't want you, why would you want them? I mean, just move on.
Yeah, well, it's an ego thing. Winnie, your thoughts?
Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold still, but
Sorry.
I'm glad that she got justice because, like you said, in the UK, it doesn't matter in America either. It happened to me while I was in the army, and they took his side and said he had a big, shining, great career. So,
oh god,
oh fucking hell,
yeah. So, and I'm like, well, don't I? And it didn't matter because I was the female and I lied and all this other stuff. And yeah, so I'm really glad that I like seeing stories where people actually get justice for their injustices.
Oh, completely agree. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's
okay.
I'm very sorry that happened to you.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Horrible. Like, yeah, in the UK, there's just never any justice. And every time, especially in cases of domestic violence, or in cases of stalking in particular, the police never take it serious. And time again, we've seen that the victim has been murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, there's been no reform. There's been no, like, if I'm the government, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to have a very specialist unit to deal with this in particular and to draw very, very draconian laws against stalking because of the prospect of what could happen. It's better to work on the assumption of what could happen. I mean, you're stalking them anyway, so you're putting that person's life at risk. End of. Because your end game is to do something that the other person doesn't want. Mm-hmm. So based on that assumption, you take draconian measures. But we don't do that over here. We don't come down on pedophiles hard either. Like there was a guy that got caught. I can't remember how many terabytes of CP he had, hard drives.
Terabytes.
Jesus something crazy like 16 terabytes worth of CP. And they gave him a 3-month suspended sentence.
What?
A 3-month suspended sentence. How many children get assaulted and they get a suspended sentence over here? It's just insane.
Well, the Catholic Church, what do you expect?
I'll come back to that comment later. Yeah, exactly. So it just, the judges, they're all fucking rapists and pedophiles themselves. How many judges you see they get caught, especially as diddlers, and that's why they're not going to prosecute their own. It's just shocking. Don't let Gigi in your house. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Gigi's eating the birds. Hey, I'm eating the dogs, the cats, the birds, everything, mate. Stick some breadcrumbs with deep fry and I'll eat it. Here we go. We've got Rusty the Cuck here saying thank you for your service. I'm just kidding.
You're welcome.
Well, I like pretending to eat.
Yeah, I was in the army.
It's
the American Army, but it's as much as they let women in, they don't like. It's kind of like sometimes I kind of feel like how they treated just the blacks, like in the 40s. Where the blacks could do just the BS work around the bay, but they couldn't go to war. They couldn't go do any actual things. That's kind of how the women are being treated a lot, where they do menial tasks that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, a friend of ours, I won't name her names, but she had similar shit to deal with in the military as well.
I think I know who
You
you're
know
talking about.
Yeah.
And there was constant like touching and prodding and telling me how beautiful I was, and I'm like, I'm a mechanic. I'm just trying to fix your shit. Leave me alone. Like,
yeah, unfortunately, sexual assault and rape in the military, both UK and US, is rampant. It's rampant. It's literally a fucking epidemic. It's really bad. And again, nothing's been done.
Nope. And they
need their soldiers.
Yeah, sweep it under the rug. Like, so I basically was given, you get out right now with your honorable discharge, even though my term wasn't completely up yet, or if you keep going, we're gonna take your rank all the way down. You're gonna be in big trouble. And like, I'm like, it happened to me. I didn't do it. Like,
that's just fucking disgusting. Just a boys' club. Shocking.
So, as a military person, I highly recommend you watch a show called The Lioness. On you watched that? You heard of it? You got Paramount Plus by any chance?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, it's on Paramount. It's got Zoe Saldana. It's on season 2 right now. But yeah, it's very good. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Just one quick funny one. Then my Disney thing, because I forgot about this one as well. But this one's just going to take
Matt Gaetz.
Oh shit! Sorry, Zan. Thank you, Zan. So Matt Gaetz was picked to be the Attorney General for Trump's cabinet. However, his recent past, let's just say, caught up with him yet again, and people would not let it go. And I was very happy to see even the MAGA chuds get behind this and saying absolutely no fucking diddler should be allowed, even though Sugar Boy Trump is one. But at least they were able to get Gaetz out.
No, you guys have got it wrong, in my opinion. I really think everyone has got this wrong, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. Right, for a start, most of Trump's cabinet picks are all fucking pedophiles and fucking rapists anyway. So why is Matt Gaetz being given the special treatment? The reason being is that Matt Gaetz is a cunt to other MAGAs.
Oh, yeah.
He has started so much shit with people like fucking Kevin McCarthy in the past as well. He's very controversial. He's not necessarily a team player. He's out for himself. Remember that famous interview he did with Tucker Carlson when he was initially the news came out regarding him and the 17-year-old girls and the sexual offense and stuff like that. He tried to throw Tucker Carlson under the fucking bus by mentioning how he had dinner with us and all of this sort of shit. Yeah. He's somebody they can't trust, which is why that they did what they did with him. Because regardless, he could have fucking raped 100 fucking girls, all only pedophiles, 100 fucking teenage girls. He would have been part of the fucking boys club, but because he fucked around with other Republicans, this is why. This is genuinely why they've done what they've done to him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, totally agree. He would be great on the gravy train if he didn't say shit to them. So
yeah, but just to reiterate, so when I said what I said, I meant the voters, like the ordinary dickheads, MAGA dickheads that were screaming for, like, say, no, we don't want this pedophile in. But you're absolutely right. That's the only reason he got kicked out, is because he's caused so much shit for them. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is probably next on that list. They're probably going to get to her.
I don't know about that. Apparently, she's got shit on a lot of them, but
but they can easily. Nothing's going to happen, even if they do have shit on them.
I mean, the RFK Jr. He's got a lot of dirt on him. Yeah, and that Hespeth guy, or however you say his name, the one who's the Ministry of Defense.
Yeah,
he's got pictures of him with iron crosses on his chest. Yeah,
and assault allegations as well.
Yeah, he's got assault allegations as well. Yeah, no one's clamoring for, and people have mentioned this stuff, and they don't want these guys to be in charge of particular departments as well. But a blind eye's been turned to those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Just Matt Gaetz, because Matt Gaetz is a loose cannon. He's a loose cannon. Oh my darling.
Absolutely. And so
I'm gonna eat you again.
I'll go to
Again.
this.
Oh, tasty girl.
Right. So Andrew Tate's online university has been hacked.
Yeah, I remember this.
All right. So is this an old story?
No. But
Oh.
I it was like a day or two. Yeah, but
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. Sorry. Platform security was described as hilariously insecure. 325 email addresses, as well as public and private chat logs, were obtained. Hackers spanned private chat rooms with transgender flag emojis and AI-generated image of Andrew Tate draped in a rainbow flag. That is beautiful.
Uh-huh.
That is what I
Well,
call ethical hacking. God damn it!
The
Yes.
most recent story though with Andrew Tate is that he says that his case has been dismissed in the Romanian court. It hasn't been dismissed, but he's already lying about that. So once shit might hit the fan, he can say, "Oh look, it's corrupt." You know, they dismissed my case.
Yeah, I still think he's going to get away with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been going on forever now, so I'm caring less. The problem, like,
Yeah,
why do
he's going to get away with it, and then he's just going to go and fight Jake Paul and have a massive gay orgy with him.
Well, I'll tell you what. If he fought Jake Paul, this will be the only time Jake Paul will fight somebody where people will be rooting for him to win.
Yeah, I'd be one of those. I'd want Jake Paul to smash Tate's face in, because Jake Paul's shit, but he's not a fucking assaulter and a bloody trafficker and a rapist and all this kind of stuff.
But I don't think Jake Paul would last 5 minutes with.
No. I mean, Andrew Tate's a world champion kickboxer. That's the sad reality. Like, you could literally say what you want to say about Andrew Tate, he will kick your ass. That's the sad reality of it, you know. Because Tate is the thing is, and you know what annoys me with Tate is if he was just the bantering and the misogyny of just the silliness and all that, and he wasn't actually a rapist and a trafficker. Okay, you can let it slide as just somebody who's hilariously daft and he's got hilarious banter, because some of his tweets are genuinely funny. But the problem is, once you step that line, you just I can't see you as a human being. You're just garbage piece of crap. Like, there's no redemption for people like him. And unfortunately, in like even when was he on? It was Big Brother he was on, right?
He was on Big Brother initially, yeah. And,
Big Brother years ago, and even there he was just showing signs that this guy's just a piece of shit when it comes to women. So yeah, but I hope the Romanians sink his ass and send him to fucking jail for life, because fuck that guy. But yeah, and finally my final story. I'm amazed I managed to get through them. So this one, CEO on to TV and film briefly, and then going back into whatever.
TikTok versus.
So, yeah, a possible CEO replacement for Bob Iger being floated around is current EA CEO Andrew Wilson. Now, this means basically the first joke that popped in my head is here's episode 1 of this Star Wars show. If you want episode 2, you're gonna have to pay an extra $5 for that, despite having a subscription already. That's how I saw it. But yeah, Andrew Wilson, the guy who fucking helped destroy EA, is gonna be.
He's also the layoff king. So let's see all of that. Like, this is gonna be terrible.
And giving themselves more record profits at the same time. So, you know, okay. In his defense, one defense I'll give him is that his attitude changed drastically after the Anthem carnage, and he's taken a more hands-off approach in terms of just allowing people to create things, especially now that the live service model is all but fucking dead, even though you know, for FIFA and Madden it's still alive and well, but for other things it's pretty much dead. So he has allowed more creative freedom. Will that translate into filmmaking? I don't know. However, this is a bad idea either way, because like when he's spot on, just layoffs galore, stripping something down or trying to maximize profits in the worst possible ways. Like, can you think of the Disney parks under an EA ownership? Oh my god, you'd have to pay for each ride rather than getting a ticket. and you pay for ticket to get in, and then pay for each ride.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
And
thing.
all of the magic would be gone. Magic would be gone. Like, the point of going to Disney is it's expensive as fuck just to go for one day, but on top of that, like, it wouldn't be fun anymore. The point of like paying all the money is to just experience the joy and seeing. You'll probably have to pay for Mickey Mouse to get his autograph now, and like
how much is the ticket to Disney?
last time the Forever ticket was like $80, I think, last time for one day, but you could use it any day you wanted.
One day, though, but what's one day? Like, 80 for how long? If you spend $80, that
But
should last you 3 days.
Yeah, but I thought it was like $300, man.
It depends.
way
It
more than that.
depends. So it depends on what you're doing, but because that's only for one park.
Oh,
Disney in Florida, because that's the one I know, has Epcot, which is a different park. You have to pay a separate.
Yeah, I've
fee.
been to that one.
It has the Magic Kingdom. It has the one Animal Kingdom.
Disney Village.
It has the Star Wars Kingdom. I don't know what they call that now, but like, so everything is individually priced. So.
Oh, I said, God,
that's why, like, when
I thought $80, I was like, I thought it'd be way worse for Disney, but now that you've explained it, that's fucking nothing.
No, that's why, like, when I went to Florida in 2008 to watch WrestleMania, I was begging my mate Ray, who wanted to do Disney just for the sake of fulfilling some sort of childhood shit. Don't do Disney. It's bollocks. It really is bollocks. Yeah, like, don't do Disney. Let's do something else. Let's do Universal Studios. And I coaxed him into doing Universal Studios, and we had a fucking great time. So yeah.
For me, like, I've never known the appeal for Disneyland at all. It just doesn't appeal to me. It's not my cup of tea, but people enjoy it. That's fine.
Disneyland Paris is awesome, like, because it's not split up into all these different segments, like it is in Florida. It's just one park, so you got everything in that one park, which makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Hong Kong, Disneyland Hong Kong was launching that same just after I left Hong Kong, and I remember my friend text me because like she then went back to Hong Kong, and she was like, yeah, that place lasted like a month and it shut down. Nobody went and they closed it down.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, I mean, it's a Chinese market. They don't fucking know what Disney is. Hong Kong might do, but China didn't, and that's where they get most of the tourists.
They got Disneyland
in 2004.
They got Disneyland in Japan still, but I'm not sure how well that's doing.
I'm sorry, it's $119 a day now.
119, and that's just for one part.
That's for one part, one day.
That's fucking insane.
Extortion.
You can choose from 4 amazing theme parks. So you could go to Epcot or Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom, but it's only one of them, it looks like. It's $119 per person.
I used to work for Man & Two Swords.
Goddamn.
And Man & Two Swords, you get free tickets to, these are like British theme parks, Alton Towers, Fort Park, Chessington. It was so fucking awesome. But those were the best theme parks in the country, and you'd be able to go on all the fucking rides. And now I don't not work for Man & Two Swords, or I've lost contact with all the people who used to work for Man & Two Swords. I can't get into those places for free anymore, but I'm very happy that I've already done it. So been there, done it, on a t-shirt.
They're not, I mean, to be fair, they're not that expensive. Like, I haven't been to one of those in, I don't know, 15 years, because I can only pick one ride because I'm very poor for seasickness. Not seasickness, ironically, I don't get seasick, travel sickness. So if a ride's bendy and all that, I'm ruined. That's it. I'll just be passed out, dizzy for the rest of it. So I'll pick one ride and I'll go on it. So that's why I don't like theme parks, because it's just a waste of money for me.
Isn't just recently as well, you've been hearing more and more stories of rides breaking down and shit like that. Like, yeah, I'm very happy that I've done all that shit in my youth. Like, I don't. If I don't go on a roller coaster again, I'm pretty cool with it, because I've been on tons. In Canada, Wonderland had the standing roller coaster. When I went on that was fucking awesome. A standing roller coaster. I mean, they had these little cups for your butt, but you're pretty much standing. I mean, for the whole fucking thing is awesome.
I I've only ever been on 2 roller coasters, and every time my friends got pissed off because I sat at the back. They're like, "Why are you sitting at the back?" You'll see. So we do the roller coasters. As soon as the ride ends, I jump out straight away. And I'm like, now if that happened during the ride, everyone behind me would have got showered. So I sit at the back just in case. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Ohio has Cedar Point, and they try to maintain it as far as I know. But there's like the scariest roller coasters are in Cedar Point, and I fucking love it. Every single ride. If I could get on it, I will.
And I'm sure you don't have the same kind of queues as you would in Disneyland. You know?
No.
Yeah.
Depending, well, the one, if it's the new ride, sometimes that queue is a long time, but everything else is fine.
All right. Nice. Well, there you go. Theme parks. A wonderful nightmare for everyone to be had. Okay. Well, that brings us on to
Sam's TikTok treasures.
Okay, I want to stick with Matt Gaetz because there's a couple of clips of him. I want to show you. Actually, one clip. Actually, I think one of them is a bit more newsy and we've already spoken about him. So let me pull up my tickly talks.
Mate.
This was only 1 minute 15 seconds, but let's just give it a shot anyway.
Former Congressman Matt Gaetz has withdrawn his nomination for Attorney General. This comes about 45 minutes after we reached out to him about some new reporting that we have. And this new reporting is that there was a second sexual encounter between him and an underage woman at a party in 2017. Now, I have covered the investigation into allegations that the congressman may have had sex with a minor for 4 years now. And Dana, this was the first time that we had learned that the underage woman had testified to a second sexual encounter. And I learned from my sources, along with our colleague Sarah Ferris, that she had testified to this to the House Ethics Committee. Now, let me read you our reporting, Dana. The alleged underage victim has testified that both of these sexual encounters, the one that we always knew about and this new one, occurred at the same party in Florida in 2017. And Dan, I am told that she gave consistent testimony in both the ethics investigation and a civil lawsuit in Florida. Now, I want to note that the Justice Department investigated these allegations that Gaetz had sex with a minor and did not charge him. He has always denied wrongdoing, and we reached out to him 45 minutes ago to get a reaction to this. He did not offer us a statement. Instead, we're seeing that he is now withdrawing.
Imagine going your whole life when people look at you and think, nonce. You know what I mean? Walking around the corridors of Congress and people looking at you, they're looking at you because you're a fucking kiddie fiddler. And that's what Matt Gaetz is always going to get now whenever he walks around Congress. What's wrong with his forehead? Botox, mate, and fucking facelifts and shit like that. The guy's had tons of them. You know, he's a rich man's son. You know, so, yeah. I got a bit more regarding Matt Gaetz. This one's a classic, by the way. An absolute beauty. Everybody loves Walter Mattison. And when he did this bit of trolling, maybe a couple of years ago, I believe. Oh, it was so fucking good because Marjorie Taylor Greene is too stupid to realize what the fuck's going on. But here we go.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I mean, everyone thinks you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy. People think you're a pedophile. I don't think you're a pedophile at all.
Look at his demeanor change.
Your charges against him are totally false. Oh my God, I'm so
have another quick look. Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't even realize.
I don't think you're crazy. People think you're a pedophile. I don't think you're a
And
pedophile.
Boo, look at his whole fucking demeanor. I love it.
Your charges against him are totally false.
Get him away from me. Get him away from me. Oh, Walter Madison, you're the gift that keeps on giving, mate. He's he is so good. Now, I'm going to quickly go on to this next segment here because this kind of shows you how MAGA fans really are.
Stupid American cunt.
Right, Check this one out. Hopefully that it'll be loud enough for you guys to hear. Why does my thing keep disappearing? Anyway. Here we go.
An unemployed Trump voter who said they voted for Trump because he promised to kill Obamacare, but says he hopes Trump keeps his hands off the Affordable Care Act, which he relies upon. Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. Here's what this guy wrote online. He wrote the following quote: "I just voted for him because he's going to kill."
Too low.
I am unemployed and Obamacare sucks. I'd rather just
That's
have
way
the
too low.
ACA, the Affordable Care
Hold
Act, by itself.
You need to get a volume adjuster for your browser.
And then someone responded to him by saying,
Okay.
Obamacare is the ACA. It is literally keeping you alive.
Okay.
You voted to take away your health care.
Just to cut this short.
Quote, why the F do people have two different names for it?
Basically, this woman wanted to get rid of Obamacare, but wanted to keep the ACA, not realizing that Obamacare is the fucking ACA, but they're too stupid, you know, because she's been brainwashed into believing that Obamacare is bad, not knowing that that Obamacare is the very thing that is keeping her alive right now. And then she's blaming liberals for why they're calling it Obamacare and the ACA when the whole point was it was the right wing, it was the TERFs and the cucks and the chuds who called it that just so they could denigrate it in some capacity, you know what I mean, by naming it Obamacare, and it just kind of shows you how misinformed so many Americans are. So
the sad part is and I keep arguing about it here. Like, your misinformation, your stupidity has dire fucking consequences for everyone. Like the whole trans panic, which is basically gay panic of the 21st century. And it has dire consequences. It's, you know, there's no excuse for being stupid, and people like that just need to be fucking slapped. I'm sorry. I've got no respect for people that are that stupid. Anyway.
Okay, so next one. This is to do with race changing and race swapping and stuff like that. This is a good one because this girl, by the way, I've got 3 clips of this girl with different people ripping on her, but just check it out. This is the first one I got.
What the fuck? And before you start with me, yeah, it has to do with her race. Look at the real Astrid. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Quick correction. So Astrid is actually not a real person. So that's going to be what we call a cartoon character. But do go on, because I'm sure this video couldn't possibly get any stupider.
Need it. Definitely didn't need it. Still don't want it.
Yeah, so that there, ma'am, is actually a green witch who is not white or a person. Or real, for that matter. Pardon me for asking, but what exactly does a fictional green witch human adjacent creature from an alternate dimension who melts at the touch of water have to do with your culture, if that's what you call all this? Do you mean your religion? I'm assuming you're a Christian. Is witchcraft not literally against Christianity? Why the fuck would you even claim this character in the first place? For God's sake, just say you don't like seeing black people in movies. Oh my fucking God, why do we have to gloss over it with all this slop, just nonsensical bullshit? I know exactly why you have a problem with seeing these black people in movies. It's because you don't like black people. We get it.
What the fuck?
But she loves Harry Potter, though.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, but you like the witchcraft thing.
No, where was it? Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. No, this is the same thing. This is the same clip, but this guy takes it kind of really shows her hypocrisy. So here we go.
What the fuck? And before you start with me, yeah, it has to do with her race.
It's funny you posted this on your profile that's labeled alt IG. Like, yeah, it's alt, all right.
Because this is a story about Vikings.
In 2013, Johnny Depp played Tonto in The Lone Ranger. Tonto is a Native American man in the source material.
Look at the real Astrid. blonde hair, blue eyes.
Well, I mean, Astrid's not real, you know what I mean? But you know who was? Marianne Pearl, who was a black Chinese and Cuban woman, and she was portrayed by Angelina Jolie on the big screen.
You know, people love to throw out the term whitewashed a lot, but I would really love to discuss what kind of color washing is happening to every live action movie that comes out now.
Yeah, we can definitely have that combo once you keep the same energy the other way around. For instance, Bullet Train, which starred Brad Pitt, was based on a Japanese novel about a Japanese hitman.
I was willing to let go of the CGI thing when you weren't going to do another race swap.
Facts. When they race swapped Scarlett Johansson into Ghost in the Shell, that shit was crazy disrespectful, right? Right, Molly Mouse? Please say right.
What is so hard about staying true to the original stories? Do we have to keep reinventing them? Because obviously no one likes them.
That's what I'm saying. Like having Ben Affleck play a Mexican man in Argo or Jake Gyllenhaal playing a Middle Eastern man in Prince of Persia, like stick to the source. Yes, queen. When clowns like this are very loud about their criticism one way, but dead silent on the same form of criticism on the opposite end, it says a lot about how their brain dead mentality works. Let's be better, little fella. Give me a kiss.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I thought that guy absolutely fucking nailed it.
And I was going to watch that film now, but now that they've got a mixed race chick in it, I'm just going to skip it now. I'm triggered.
Hey.
What?
All right, now this is regarding Donald Trump and the fact that he is a cult and a religion all rolled into one. It's kind of scary and sad. Some of us might have seen shit like this, but look, you can't be fucking. The guy's a politician. You can't be fucking praying to the motherfucker. Anyway, here we go.
More proof that MAGA is a fucking cult. Roll the tape.
Last night you mentioned that the other team are vessels. But I want you to know, and we want you to know, we believe you're a vessel.
Amen.
You're a chosen vessel. That's a Bible verse in the book of Acts that said Paul
Of
was
course,
a
the
chosen
evangelicals
vessel.
think that because
And we're
he's a
praying for
capitalist.
God's blessing on
He's
your
thinking,
life.
look at these
May
suckers.
the Lord bless you.
I'm going to take everything,
May the
every
Lord
penny
make
I
his
can out of
face
these
shine on
motherfuckers.
I
May
don't
the
give a
Lord
fuck
be
about these
gracious
people.
unto you. May he lift up his countenance, his favor upon you,
Ricky Gervais
and give
couldn't
you
write
peace
Crazy
and
this bad.
blessing and bless this nation. And we pray it all in your name, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Wait till they find out
Amen.
that he's
Money.
not even a Christian. Every time he's
Yeah.
been asked about his faith or what his favorite Bible verse is, he just stutters. He can't name a Bible verse. I will be dancing through the streets when this election is over, and he is gone because
No, this was before the election, so she got that prediction wrong. But they say wait till he finds out that he's not a Christian. You know, he is. We all know he's not a fucking. He's a guy's a fucking atheist. You know, but regardless, he probably wished that he ran for office earlier because he's been conning people his entire life. But the biggest grift job he's ever done was run for president because these people are willing to fucking go to jail for him and give up everything. He can sell whatever he wants. All of these people who vote for him are the perfect mark. Every single one of them. NFTs, shoes, watches, you name it. Coins. He can sell them fucking anything and they'll buy it. Absolute fucking crazy.
Yep.
And
yep. And it's going to be funny because, like we talked about last week, how they're all discovering what tariffs are after they voted. They didn't know about it before, but there was a warning from Morgan Stanley. Is it Morgan Stanley? I think it's Morgan Stanley. People that work there that said if Trump implements his tariffs, it's going to destroy the country. It's going to put them possibly not into a recession, into depression if he implements his tariffs. Now, let's see. Will people wake up? Because don't forget, the whole reason Kamala lost was because of the economy, not because of anything else. Will they wake up and see the chaos that he's going to bring? Still going to vote for him in 2020 election.
well, look, there are people who know Brexit was the most stupidest thing they ever done, but they still voted for it. and they're adamant. Sorry, they're still a good thing.
Yeah, they're still.
And then,
yeah,
and they go back to people like Nigel Farage, who obviously sold them a lie. I think they'll whatever happens, there'll be people who will follow Donald Trump off a fucking cliff,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and they'll
for
never admit that they were wrong. Anyway,
Yeah.
a bit of humor. Here we go.
There's a chocolate factory called Uranus Fudge Factory in Indiana, and the marketing's been taken over by a 12-year-old boy. Somebody needs to stop this. Right here, you see Uranus Farms, fresh from Uranus to the table. When you walk up to the counter, they ask you, "Are you ready to have your fudge packed? Because we're professional fudge packers here." They sell beef jerky called Jerk Uranus. You can't beat the meat in Uranus. They sell a lot of memorabilia like shirts and hats. This one right here says Fudge Packers Union. Proudly packing fudge in Uranus since 2015. This one's great, just worshiping alcohol right here with Uranus Liquors. Poker in the front, liquor in the rear. Or this one, Uranus Gas and Lube Company. We pump it in the front and lube it in the rear.
This is ridiculous.
I don't know what
but
this
I
is
love
referring to, though. They have family-friendly stuff like mini golf, though. This one's called Putt Pirates. Sink your balls into our putt holes. So that one's pretty good. The most family-friendly area is probably the ice cream shop because I couldn't find anything bad in this place. And they sell hot dogs, too, which they wash with Mr. Wiggles Magical Miracle Wiener Washer because wetter wieners wiggle better. Wait a minute. There's a chocolate factory called...
This, I don't know about you guys, but this place is now on my bucket list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where was it again?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Okay.
So-
Well then, add Indiana to the bucket list. I just finished watching Royal Trier channel version of Spock and Kirk, and I have to say I prefer Royal Trier version, has a smoother and more coherent storyline, and there's less unnecessary footage. Oh, is that to do with the fan film that you guys just watched? I'm guessing. Zam?
Yeah, it is to do with the fan film.
It was a great fan film.
So
Amazing.
now, if it ever was a reason, and by the way, I admire Logan Paul as a wrestler, and that's about it. Yeah, but everything else about this guy I despise. And oh gosh, just check this out.
There's a strange atmosphere in the room and a suspicious amount of Logan's own cameras pointed at us. All of a sudden, it becomes clear why.
What's up, dude? How's it going? Thanks. Matt. Sorry, I'm tired. No worries. Last night was hard. How are you enjoying Colorado? Right. How are you enjoying Puerto Rico? Yeah, pretty good, man.
The lookalike is clearly nervous, so I'm keen to see how he responds to questions.
Look, you're one of the most famous people by many metrics in the world. What on earth does that feel like? Feels good, bro. You look like a champ. I have to say, the real Logan Paul looks very different. Did you come all over here to ask about how I look? Is Logan coming? I'm right here, bro. You came all the way to Puerto Rico from England. This is your interview. What do you got? Look, these are some very serious questions. You know, there are people who really want to know the answers to these questions. I'm a serious person. Let's just get out of here. I'm not doing this. Matt, no. You came all the way to Puerto Rico for this interview. Stop touching child,
So rather than defend himself against the allegations we've been investigating, Logan decided to troll us. Minutes after leaving the gym, we receive a letter from lawyers on behalf of Logan Paul warning us against publishing our allegations. There's a strange...
Way to go, Logan Paul. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have no love for the fucking BBC, but you making them look like the good guys here, like you really fucking fucked
What was
up.
the allegations? Is it just the scamming?
The scamming and stuff like that. But I mean, it's too such like you can tell he's a scammer because he's even got a lookalike, you know, to pretend to be him. I mean, that is a scam in his own right. But
Yeah, the guy lives in Puerto Rico because he can get away with not paying taxes and with certain laws regarding what he's doing. That's why he moved to Puerto Rico as well. He's a huge piece of shit, and the WWE Like, I loathe that he's there, that he's allowed to be there, considering what a massive. But he's a capitalist scammer, so they love him. You know, they don't give a shit. Talk about
Exactly.
the UFC and then WWE and all this shit. Well, they don't care.
All right, so let's have a look. Ski. What have we got here? Oh, here we go. There's more on Donald Trump, and this time a bit of Jeffrey Epstein thrown into the mix. Here we go.
Could we be getting closer to a certain person's list getting released?
Has to be one of my favorite conservative delusions. They are the righteous party, the drain the swamp party. They are looking out for the kids. Walk down memory lane of a 15-year-long friendship between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump that ended just months before Jeff was investigated, not over Jeff's behavior, but rather over ego. In 1985, Donald bought Mar-a-Lago for the low price of $5 million. 5 years later, Jeff bought a property around the corner for $2.5 million. That is the exact property where he would first start being investigated in 2005. These were two wealthy New Yorkers side by side
that's
in
around the
Florida,
corner.
basically doing whatever they wanted, partying together, etc. By both of their own words, these guys were very, very close. Epstein even said he introduced Trump to Melania. There are many other things that Jeff had to say about Donald. A lot of this information actually leaked right before the election. It's funny because basically nobody talked about this. Epstein was on tape talking to Michael Wolff and said, and I quote, "I was Donald's best friend for 10 years. I think one of the reasons this wasn't big news is everybody actually already knows this by Donald Trump's own admission back in 2002. He admitted to knowing Jeff before he even moved into that property in Florida, saying in 2002, "I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy, lots of fun to be with, even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do. Many of them are on the younger side." This is not a matter of debate or speculation. These are Donald Trump's own words about the man. Trump's connections to absolute monster Ghislaine Maxwell are also well documented. Encourage you to go check that out on your own. I have a genuine question for any fan of this man watching. Do you think Donald was friends with these people for that long, partying with them, living so close to them, and did not know anything about what was happening? Now, Jeff's brother and his pilot have both testified that Donald Trump flew on Epstein's plane, which has been dubbed the Lolita Express. The question becomes, what happened in 2004 that ended this relationship, again, months before they started investigating Epstein? This is what happened. The Maison de l'Amitié, which ironically translates to the House of Friendship. Abe Gossman, the old owner, went bankrupt, and he was selling this property. Both Epstein and Trump were incredibly interested. Trump described this as the finest piece of land in Florida, or maybe the US. A huge bidding war started between the two, and they both started talking shit about each other behind each other's backs. Jeff would bid up to $39 million. Donald won out with a bid of $41 million. That ended their friendship. It is well documented. This is a great representation about how this man has burned basically every single person that has gotten close to him from a business perspective, from a romantic perspective, from a political perspective, for basically his entire life. The same thing is going to happen with Elon. When you have two egos like this, they cannot coexist. But if you're wondering what happened to that property, Donald sold it 4 years later. He sold it to this guy, Dmitry Rybolovlev. If you want another nice rabbit hole to dive into, I encourage you to go look into Dmitry, look into this deal, and look into generally all of Donald's ties to Russia. All things considered, when it comes to the Trump administration and Epstein's list, the call is most decidedly coming from inside the house.
Could we be getting...
So
great video.
Yeah, thank you. So regarding Epstein, and obviously Trump is has got a massive link to him, but he burnt his bridges with Epstein as well. He burnt his bridges with his entire first cabinet. Some of them resigned or ended up in jail. A lot of his fucking generals were saying he's a fucking narcissist, crazy, all of this shit. He tried to fucking kill his vice president. He burns bridges with people. You can never stay friends with anyone for a fucking long time. And obviously him and his relationship with Elon is already starting to sour. You know, with Elon thinking that he's the co-president of the United States and stuff like that. He looks at Trump as an investment. Yeah, them two are going to end up.
That's the biggest issue, is that Elon's going to overshadow Trump, and Trump fucking hates that. That's what you don't do. You don't overshadow Trump. And yeah, that relationship's not going to fall. But then it's going to be interesting. And I hope it goes that way, because then it'll be interesting to see what Elon Musk does. Because the guy's fucking richest man in the world. So what's he going to use his money on to take? He could theoretically use his money to take Trump down if they fall out.
Or
So
invest in 4
we
years.
could end up with the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation.
I just think that at the same time, Donald Trump, it's really hard. Like, I still think he's got more people who would follow him than they would follow Elon at this moment in time. I think the older voter is more likely to stick with him, whilst the younger voter might probably be on more on Elon's side. But but yeah, I just say like Donald Trump, you can't be allies with him for too long before he'll throw you under the bus.
What Elon could end up doing is primarying a lot of his not primarying, funding Democrats to run against his own people and all this kind of shit if they cross him. So it's very interesting.
Oh, I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't do that. That's just
either way, it's going to be a massive circus. But I want to end the stream there, dude, because we've been going for quite a bit.
Yeah, fair enough. No problem.
Yeah. So I want to thank everyone in the comments for joining us. Your contributions are always appreciated. Winnie, thank you again for joining us. It's been fantastic. Oh, you muted.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And of course, as always, thank you to Zam. And on that note, we might be back next week. We might not. This week was iffy because I was meant to go in for to hospital procedural colonoscopy thing, but they've cancelled my appointment. I thought, fuck it, do the show today. Next week, we'll see. And on that note, let chaos reign supreme. Bye.